Hi guys, Craig Rivers here with Rivers and Outdoors. I'm always talking about tips and tricks and things that I'm going to talk about in my videos. I'm not going to call it tips and tricks anymore. I think I'm going to call it ideas. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through some stuff that I've collected and show you how simple you can actually build a nice kit or a nice pack for stuff when you're out in the woods. You don't have to spend a lot of money. So one thing I did is I made myself a homemade survival card, and I'm going to show you what all I have in here, and then I'll show you how I use some of these items. And so basically what I did is I started with a piece or a gift card, kind of a janky gift card from like some hamburger place or hot dog place or whatever. And then I got some duct tape. So you have the duct tape. That's your first thing that you have. And then what you do is you put all your items on there under the duct tape. And you'll see what I have here, if I can do this, if you can see it. I hope you can see that. Basically, you'll see that I've got fish hooks, keys, safety pins, can opener, couple of nails, horseshoe nails. Now, the reason I have horseshoe nails is they're very thin and very sharp. And they're flat, and you can bend them into different things, you know, like a grappling hook or something like that. Got some little trip wire, some little eye screws for making a fishing pole if you had to, safety pin, Exacto blade, and I'll show you how most of that stuff works. So here is where I took and cut off a safety pin and bent it and lashed it to the end of a pole so it would make an eyelet like on a fishing pole. And you can do, you know, 2 or 3 of them down your fishing pole. And so that's a pretty handy thing. Now here's the Exacto Blades I kind of rave about. Makes a nice real little arrowhead. I lashed that on there so you can see how an arrowhead would work. Very sharp, nice arrows. Make sure you put fletching on your arrows. It could be duct tape, it could be feathers, it could be anything. Now, if you recall, I was complaining about a fella that did a survival video on TV. And he used spokes off of a Honda 90 and clamped them to a stick with a hose clamp. Switched the hose clamp while they were filming. But I wanted to show you how well these work. And again, bicycle spokes and stuff like that, that's stuff you can find by the supermarket where the homeless people leave them, garbage holes, wherever. Okay, now if you look at a spoke has a little bend on the end where it goes through the center hub. Make sure you cut it towards the outside, towards the rim, so you can get the full length of the spoke. Now what I did here is I carved a stick to show you how this works. And if you use branch with some bark on there, it actually works really good. And what you do is you cut a groove in there for that'll hold your spoke, and then you cut another groove around the stick. And again, what makes that nice is it keeps it from, you basically put them in there and lash them in place. And what it does is this bend keeps it from sliding down and keeps it from sliding out. So what I did is I did the opposite end because I'm trying to, without sitting here and doing the whole project and taking a lot of time, I want to show you what the end results are and how easy some of this stuff is you can do yourself. So that's 3 spokes lashed on there. That's a good frog gig or good thing for catching fish, whatever. It's a good item. You don't need a lot when you go out in the woods. You just grab a couple of things and do what you're gonna do. Now here's some old bullet casings that I have saved. And what I did is I put one on, used it for handle on my ferro rod, which is kind of cool. I just drilled a hole in it. I don't know if you can see it. Probably not. Anyway, drilled a hole in there and put like a rivet through there and glued it at the same time. This is a little plane or draw knife that I had found, and it had wooden handles. They were all busted off, rotten. I cleaned it up, and then I put bullet casings on here for the handles. This is kind of neat. I love this thing. So in my survival card, here's a couple reasons why I use safety pins, or put safety pins in there. This is a fish hook made out of a safety pin. Now this thing here acts as a catch, kind of like, because you don't have a barb, what it does is when the fish grabs a hold of this springs into place and keeps the hook from coming out. Now that's made from a safety pin. You know, that's pretty easy. And if you're carrying around a set of multi-tools, that's an easy thing to make. So the other thing I want to talk about is in garbage holes, you find all kinds of stuff. So this is a lantern. Now look at the bottom of that. It's completely rotted out. And what I'm going to do is cut this off around here, and then I'll cut a little wooden disc, and that way it'll set on the table nice. But the cool thing about them, this one is a high-low, what's called a high-low lantern, and it was made in the early part of the 1900s, like 1908, I think. But it says high-low on it, and what it means is high quality, low price. And construction people used them and everything. But if you notice, because it don't hold fuel anymore, it's got a hole in there, and you can stick a candle in it. And now you have a candle lantern, basically. So you have a candle lantern. So you can use, you know, and actually the glass was broke on this one. I had this thing for years when I was a kid. The glass was broken. I found the glass on Amazon, cheap. So, you know, people carry around candle lanterns when they're doing bushcraft stuff, so I thought that was pretty cool. Here's another one. Now this one's got, I thought originally that was a bullet hole, but it's just rusted out right there. And the bottom is, see, the bottom is shot. Same thing, this one is missing all the wire framework and the mechanism for the lens. But again, you put your candle in there and you can carry it around, put it on the table. I see people use blocks of wood in their bushcraft, or blocks of wood, excuse me, in their bushcraft camps and their shelters to hold candles. Well, this will work pretty good, and it's pretty darn stable. Okay, so here's the deal with the keys in the survival card. Now, if you look at this, what I did, or I came up with this is kind of my own thing, and I can't find it right now, but I have, of course, a file. So anyway, what I did is I filed, oops, sorry guys. I filed a notch in these keys. And they're in this survival card. See the keys. Now, what those do, I should have another one laying around here somewhere. Show you what they do. Two things. Okay, I kind of, because we're not out in the woods, I clamped my my piece, how I'm going to show this works, to the table and stuck it in a vise. So basically, you make a spring trap. Can you see that? You tie your line and your base to the keys, and then the keys hook together like this and they pop. Now you can use these for fishing or trapping small rodents. So this is something I came up with. I don't know what to call it. Well, I call my other thing River's Rocket Stove. I guess I could call it, I don't know, whatever. Okay, so show you how it works. This thing works good. So this is well, let me go over here. This is the snare. Now again, you can tie a fishing line to this and it'll get your fish. Oh, made a liar out of me. What is going on here? Oh, it's springy all right. There you go, see? Works pretty darn good. I mean, this is fascinating. In fact, I flung the other side of it off. So that's pretty cool. The other thing I wanted to talk about was you got to look for everything on the ground. I've even found Native American arrowheads that you could strap to a stick if you had to. You just got to pay attention. You got to look for things in garbage holes. So this is just some goofy thing I was playing with. Now I'd seen where people used bottle caps for lures, and I'd seen where people used pull tabs for lures or for fishing hooks. So I thought, well, why not put them together? So this kind of makes a little fishing lure. Now I did, and I know some of these things work because when I was younger, I was fishing one time up at the lake behind where we live, and I was with a friend of mine. I didn't have a lot of fishing gear. So I needed some weights. And what I did is I got the old style pull tabs that you pull off. I scrounged around and picked a whole bunch of them. And I made a loop through my fishing line and stacked up about 5 or 6 of them to make a weight. And went out and flung them off the dock. And I couldn't believe it. I started pulling crappie out. I couldn't figure out what was going on. and tons of them. And so what it was, I went, I put my pole and my rig down in the water, and I was watching what was going on, and those pull tabs had slipped down towards the hook, and they were spinning naturally on their own. And the crappies just were coming up and nailing the hook. I couldn't believe it. It was pretty cool. It was a lot of fun. So I think this is a little bit of a shorter video. Mostly just wanted to talk about some of these items, the lanterns, the key thing, which is pretty fascinating in itself. Just things you can find. Oh, the other thing is old flashlights. Don't throw your old flashlights out. You can cut them down and make a hobo fishing reel out of it. Just cut the end off and then put a plug of wood in there or something. You can unscrew the cap, put your fishing gear inside, wrap your line around there, and you got a hobo fishing reel. I think that's about it. So thank you again for watching. I hope I can come up with some more things in the future. Well, actually, I know I can. It's good to see you all again. I hope everybody's okay. We're still kind of in a mess out there with COVID. We're not out of it yet. And I'm in my front yard today. In fact, I notice on my camera, you can pick up a blinking light behind my head. I don't know what that blinking light is. I think it's something over towards town on the wires or something. I don't know. Okay. Alrighty. Thank you again. And I will see you next time. Bye now.